And that hurt, man. Who hurt you? Like, I don't understand. Like, no one can write like that without having been, like, really hurt. Disney's A Wrinkle in Time. Love this book, read it when I was a kid. This is like the movie that was impossible to make, and now we have the technology to actually make it. And I have a feeling that Vince Mancini, or I don't know, the washed up Bradley Cooper who got stung by 1,000 bees, is gonna say something stupid about this movie. He's probably gonna bitch about this whole movie and the whole review is gonna be about Oprah. That's my guess. Either that or like because of the fact that it's about like love and family and like understanding who you are, that he's just gonna think that that's stupid. If I had to make a wager. Especially because he looks like the human version of Eeyore. All right, let's see if he's funny. So I haven't read this review. Let's take a look at it together. In one of A Wrinkle in Time's establishing scenes, Chris Pine's Dr. Alex Murray stands on a stage, flanked by his wife, Dr. Kate Murray, explaining to a gathering of scientists that the bonds between the electrons that make up our bodies are the same as the bonds between the electrons that make up entire galaxies. That you are the universe and the universe is you. And if we can just find the right frequency, we'll be able to create a wrinkle in time, allowing us to travel 91 billion light years using nothing but our minds. The doctors are rightly laughed out of the room. Wow. So initially, the concepts of this movie you think are stupid. Why did you continue? It seems to me that if it started out with something that you automatically think is stupid, which is the entire basis for the story, you should probably leave immediately. I mean, if I walked into a place called the Meat House and realized that it was an S&M club and not the German butcher I was looking for, I'd probably just leave and not like wait it out. And yes, I'm doing air quotes because you had way too many fucking quotations in this review already. The movie's explanation for how he travels those 91 billion light years never gets any clearer than Alex's initial laughable presentation. Because this is exact science and not science fiction for children. The science in this book that I found in the young adult section isn't accurate enough for me. This is bullshit. What is this? I mean, come on. When I grab a copy of Goosebumps, I want it to be accurate.
Your mouth, you get that far up inside of your face.
It depends on how sarcastic I get. In fact, forget the how. Okay. The movie never bothers explaining where. Or, oh, really? You wanted a map to the fucking dimension? Like, they go to another dimension, you're like, but where is this? Where is this imaginary place? Were you watching Harry Potter and when they end up in Diagon Alley by going through a fucking fireplace, you were like, but exactly how did you get there? I need to know. Cause magic isn't enough of an explanation. Sorry, Disney. The closest it gets to how is Dr. Murray in a flashback saying out loud and to himself, love, that's the frequency. Oh, sorry, love. That's the frequency. I'm gonna have to get used to that. Every time I read his shit, it's covering me up. So even if I do the air quotes, you're not gonna see it. So just picture this each time and you might smile. The closest it gets to the why is Dr. Murray telling his daughter, I wanted to shake hands with the universe when the hand I should have been holding was yours. I mean, that's a pretty good why, you know, if you enjoy relationships. I mean, you can't even watch Fast and the Furious. It's one of the most mindless franchises ever, and you can't even watch that without, like, family being important and love by the end of it. Like, that's fucking crazy. You're basically limited to, like, some trauma films and, like, maybe gore horror and, I don't know, porn. There's a lesson to be learned there, too. Although I do feel that you kind of look like the toxic Avenger after plastic surgery and like the type of person who pretty much enjoys all of the things I just said, which I do too, but I don't only enjoy those things, and that's my concern for you. I simply cannot deal with this level of meaningless platitude. Moral lessons in a book written for teens. I simply cannot deal with that. And that's probably why people are fucked up now. Because there's people like you who are like, let's take the morals and the love out of the things we show to children. Sounds like a good idea. You are the fucking human version of Eeyore. He looks like, I know we keep, this is just a great picture. It's hard not to say stuff. Like, he looks like if he was doing drugs with his friends, like, they'd be like, maybe don't do, maybe like lay off the drugs, man. Maybe for like a day. I can't see your eyes. The store is out of whipped cream and I've been to 5 in a radius around your house. Maybe lay off the whippets. Also, how do you walk or drive? I can't see your eyes. It's gonna be a really weird video. The film began after commercials for Disney Channel Kids and American Idol with a personalized message from director Ava DuVernay. She said that she hoped that her movie would make us feel like our 11, 12, 13-year-old selves and be a beacon of hope in these divisive times. I was immediately worried because I couldn't be any less cynical. Jesus, you were worried about someone wanting to make you feel like a kid and have... Man, someone was trying to do something good and I was concerned. If someone was like feeding the homeless, you'd be like, I don't know. I feel like they're just luring them in with the food so that they can kill them and make pies to feed to the homeless, and it's just this cyclical fucked up thing. 9 times out of 10, someone exhorting you to be more childlike, to be more innocent, to focus more on the positive is full of shit. I feel like that's really negative, and I feel like you should focus on the positive instead. You might actually end up with a better review. Or am I full of shit? Don't be so negative! I missed the air quotes. Don't be so negative. Also, I just said that to you. You're already answering me, which is weird because this was written and I have never met you. Don't be so negative is the mantra of Smarm, but I was a huge fan of Selma, a movie that made some bold and unexpected creative choices in a normally excruciatingly conventional genre, so I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Oh, how kind of you. I'm sure she gave one shit. At least, maybe. I don't know. She definitely cared what you think. As the movie went on, much as I tried to do like she said, I couldn't shake the feeling that 12-year-old me, 11-year-old me, any me old enough for me to remember me, really, what the fuck? Drugs for sure. Before I was just making a joke because your eyes aren't open. Now, what the fuck kind of sentence was that? Holy crap. Good lord. You can't accept that there's a possibility of other dimensions or like a connection between universes and people, but you make a sentence like that? Good Christ. Oh, any me old enough to remember me really would have hated this movie. Did you read the book? Also, did you just like immediately move to a different type of movie, I guess, by the time you were 11? It doesn't really make sense that like, if you like the book or like stories that are imaginative as a child, that you would hate it. It would only make sense that you hate it because of personal preference. So you should probably say, I would have hated this movie because I would have hated this movie, and stop trying to explain it based on why other people shouldn't like it, because there is an explanation of this magical, crazy thing that we watched. It's never explained why Charles Wallace has 2 first names, because that's crucial to this movie. But apparently he's a gifted student, which is actually crucial to this movie. And also wears sweater vests over Oxford shirts to school, has a perfect newscaster part in his hair, and seems to deliver every line in an over-caffeinated half shriek. I mean, he interpreted the character in a way with the help of his director, yes. Hence, the movie. It was a movie. I'd like to see you play the role that way. Also, I'd like to see what you would do with this character. That would be very, very interesting. Yeah, that would be pretty odd. You'd play a character more fit for Fast Times at Ridgemont High than for A Wrinkle in Time. And by the way, you look like the Wahlberg brother that they hide. People are always telling Meg to be more like Charles Wallace, which is weird because Charles Wallace is incredibly annoying, but he's smart and behaves himself. That's like the thing for parents and adults. Why can't you be like the one who doesn't get in trouble and has amazing grades all the time? And for Christ's sake, is there any parent who would see a young boy dressed in a button-up all the fucking time, tucked into his pants, that wouldn't be like, oh my god, he is a dream. This is a dream. How did I get to have you as the child? Good lord. And then there's this other bitch. But A Wrinkle in Time values positivity over anything else. It's weird that like everything you say that I would be like, yeah, that's good, sounds bad from you. Partly because of how much fucking quotations are in this, but also because your sardonic and sarcastic tone through the entire thing just leads me to believe that anytime anything good happens, it's actually bad, which is weird because I've dated women like you. One of the best things about Lady Bird was that the teens looked like teens. Another thing is that it's not the movie we're talking about. So I'm gonna try my best to skip all the Lady Bird shit and see if we can get back to Disney's A Wrinkle in fucking Time. And that's still Lady Bird. That's still Lady Bird. There's some Lady Bird there. Okay. Like every Disney Channel sitcom from the late aughts, the kids in A Wrinkle in Time all look like they have professional stylists. They're not kids, but adults weirdly fetishized notions of kids. I don't want to touch that comment. I also feel uncomfortable just saying touch. now. The whole movie is like this. It's not that it has cliches. Lady Bird had plenty of, okay, Lady Bird again. All right, so we're gonna, okay, paint by numbers, okay. The misses eventually show up from some other galaxy, which we don't know where it is because that's really important to you in magic or whatever. Mrs. Witch, Oprah. Everyone else is gonna get first and last names. I know it. I know it. Mrs. What's-It, Reese Witherspoon, told you. And Mrs. Who, Mindy Kaling, told you again. They've arrived because of some galactic distress beacon to teach Meg, along with her obnoxious brother and proto-boyfriend, Calvin, Levi Miller, told you again. A One Direction song come to life who constantly tells Meg she's perfect the way she is and has obnoxiously perfect prepubescent Luke Perry hair, how to use the Tesseract to travel across the universe and find her dad. Somewhat similar to the story in the book because it's based on it. Also, it's kind of stupid to be so sarcastic about a young adult film that has a pretty girl and a nice good-looking boy who's straight out of a One Direction situation because they're still like not jaded and fucked up like we are. They haven't gone through the crap that we've gone through to make it so that we look at that and we're like, it's dumb. They look at that boy and go, oh my god, he's dreamy. And then it sells tickets to a movie about peace and love and hope and self-respect. Fuck is wrong with you? The secret they relate is to become one with the universe. The quotes are back. The trouble with finding dad, meanwhile, is that he's trapped by the it, which we're told is a purely evil energy. But how can an energy be purely evil? What does that even mean? Energy is just energy. Also, this is a book for children. I am really tired of this. Why do you want an explanation? Also, obviously someone who doesn't think that thinking positively does anything and that anytime anyone says something like that to you, that they're being a fucking ass and that they're full of shit, obviously you're gonna think that energy is energy and there isn't anything positive or negative. Which is why at the beginning of this, I said, you already thought it was stupid right when you sat down. You should have left immediately. This is my motion for leaving. It's similar to air quotes, except it means leaving. Basically, the entire movie consists of the missus chiding Meg, and by extension, us, to be more positive, in order to defeat a pernicious but entirely vague negativity. This comes partly from a tradition of Disney films, which have long told us that if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Man. Look, I understand that, like, sometimes it gets annoying with the inspirational posters on Facebook, but jeez, having a movie for children have some morals and some good messages should not turn you into this at all. Like, I really don't understand at all. Is there a heart in there, Cowardly Lion? And I say that because you kind of look like the Cowardly Lion. And I know he's the one who needed courage, but you kind of look like the Cowardly Lion. That felt like an ending. No. This review isn't over, okay? Gear up, motherfuckers! Alright. But the corollary to that is, don't tell me to cheer up or be positive if you can't think of a reason for me to cheer up or think of an example of something I should be positive about. Yes, it feels, actually, it's pretty interesting because science, or I guess the science of psychology and psychiatry, would beg differently. And here's the thing, if you really want a reason, there's a simple reason. They teach you to have acceptance so that you can actually become more positive. So that's what happened in this movie. It wasn't just blind positivity, it's accepting your faults and where you are so that you can become positive. The problem is, 11-year-olds who read this book are smarter than you. Yes, it feels snarky to say so, but as Tom Scotia wrote in his 2013 essay on SMARM, snark is a theory of cynicism. SMARM is its practice. Now you're like, I was trying to science you and you scienced me with an essay. Battle of the sciences on SMARM and cynicism. Let's be honest. Tell a kid feels positive and accept themselves for who they are, you're probably telling them something good. I don't think that, like, we need any science to get involved there. Without any substrate for the positivity or the negativity, A Wrinkle in Time is just a series of free-floating affirmations. It's so funny because, like, a well-received movie that I bet you actually like And if you don't, one of your craft beer drinking friends probably does, is Waking Life, which is an entire movie that has no plot but is about lucid dreaming and affirmations based on psychological theories and philosophical theories. But you know, what the fuck, it's a bunch of bullshit. Though adapted from a beloved 1962 children's book by Madeline L'Engle, it feels like The Secret for kids, or like being trapped inside some Success Win Bros inspiration daily LinkedIn quotes. Yeah, I mentioned that before. I feel like it gets annoying when we become adults because we're fucking ruined. That's why we're on LinkedIn and not children who watch children's movies, which this is. Good reference, Win Bro. It's still not over. Wow. It's Disney faux cheer meets Oprah's cult of self-actualization. Once I'm happy just for the sake of it, then what? In fact, it feels a lot like Brad Bird's big-budget, equally smarmy 2015 Disney film, Tomorrowland. Both attempt to be so broad and universal that they feel disconnected from anything human, but universally doesn't work that way, no matter how much you tell everyone to think like a kid. It's really strange to say that broad topics like love, family, self-respect, acceptance are things that make us somehow less human, even though they're like the things that make us human. Don't you think that that's odd? Also, expanding our view of things can bring us back to the realization that we're not more important than everything else. And that humility can actually make us have respect for ourselves and other people in a way that can make us better human beings and interact better with each other and the earth and the universe as a whole. That's not weird either. And if that's The Secret, then that's a pretty good book. Don't try to tell me everyone's worries. That will just be a series of lies and assumptions. Just you can't write. Everything you're saying makes it so you can't write anything. You just draw. Even drawing symbols randomly and taping like pictures and shapes on a thing will in some way convey something, like accidentally. You know, art. Like, you're literally saying all this stuff that makes it so that someone can't write a story and make a movie. Unless it's like so fucking mindless that it's The Expendables. Which even that, I took away something human. Having Dolph Lundgren, the least human. And I took away something very human. There's an inspirational poster for you. If Dolph Lundgren can be human, when he's the least human, what can you be today? You'd think a company with a mouse for a logo would realize that the key to inspiring people is to start small. I don't really feel like that's the case, but that's a thing. I feel like you can't make a giant statement like that and like focus on this big thing. See what I did there?
This dude wants to walk into a movie that's about a film reviewer whose wife left him and life is never gonna get better, and you just tell it like it is. Life is never gonna get better.
Is that how that ends?
Yeah.
Man, first off, that was long. And that hurt, man. Who hurt you? Like, I don't understand. Like, no one can write like that without having been, like, really hurt. Do you guys agree with this guy who looks like a pile of mashed potatoes was animated by lightning? Because I think this review is absolutely insane. Also, what did you think of Disney's A Wrinkle in Time with Oprah who has no last name? We'd love to know. Put it down in the comments. If it's your first time here, subscribe. Air quotes. And until we see you next time, geek out and game on.